Are we rolling?
We are rolling.
We are rolling, rolling, rolling. Welcome to the second to the last class, I'm not sure which one this is, of the Art of Spiritual Mind Treatment. You guys have stuck in here and you're doing your treatments and you're practicing and you've really got the steps down, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. So David, come on up. Tom, did you murmur a yeah over there?
Yeah.
Come on up. Come on up, Kristen. Who else? Who else feels like they've got this? All right, here's a Rick. Come on up, Rick. And Kathy, come on up. Wonderful. So the first thing you do before you do a spiritual mind treatment is figure out why you're doing the treatment. You look at what your purpose is in the treatment. So we're going to take 3 ideas of what we want this opening treatment to be about. Health. Health. What else? What?
Clarity.
Clarity. What else?
Love.
Love. Health, clarity, and love. Yay, Kristen. Writing it down on the board. It is not uncommon for your licensed practitioners to write down what they are treating for you. It's not a character flaw. John and I have these big lists because you can get out there and forget what you're doing because it's just so great to hang out there. And sometimes that's okay, but probably not all the time. So this is going to be an opening treatment for the class on health, clarity, and love. And Kristen, did I hear you claim step 3?
Yeah. It was claimed by somebody else. I did, and then apparently I unclaimed it.
Okay, so here we're going to go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Step 3 is going to be personal, powerful, present, positive, precise. Okay?
Okay, you're doing all 3 at once?
Yes, you are doing all 3 at once. You're going to include health, clarity, and love in your first step. You're going to include health, clarity, and love in your second step. And you're going to affirm and realize health, clarity, and love for all of us. In the third step, you're going to be grateful for health, clarity, and love, and you're going to release it somehow in health, clarity, and love. Okay? Okay. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Everybody take a deep breath.
I know that God's Spirit is love, ever present. It is the health of my life, my total being. It's clarity. It encompasses all people, all things, all situations, all times.
And I know that because God is everything, that it encompasses all of these situations and people and things. I know that I too must be God. And I know that I too must be that clarity, must be that love, and must be that health.
And I know, because I am one with all it is, that I can affirm that love, clarity, and health manifest in every way in our lives as a pure consciousness app that moves into the cosmic computer of God itself and manifests for everyone.
I am so thankful for this awareness of health and clarity and love. I am thankful for all of its expression that I have known, all the expression that is here now, and all the expression that is yet to be. It is one big gratitude basket of clarity.
With a grateful heart, I release this to the universe, knowing we already have health, clarity, and love. And what I believe, I receive, and so it is.
And so it is. Very good, very good. So did John give you homework last week?
No.
Well, we
You're
read the
welcome.
book the next time.
We were supposed to read the next chapter, and that gave us homework.
So tonight we're going to talk about how to do spiritual mind treatment work for somebody else. You spent most of the class learning how to treat for yourself. Because until you can treat for yourself, you can't treat for someone else. The practitioner treats the practitioner. Period. End of story. You're not doing anything to anyone else. You're not talking to them. You're not convincing them. You're not prescribing to them. You're not telling them what's wrong with them. You're not telling them that they can't have what they want until they forgive more, grow up more, suck it up more, whatever it is. That's not treating for someone. A practitioner simply treats within their own consciousness the realization of the God nature of that other person. And it doesn't have anything to do with the physicalness of that person, the personality of that person, the whereabouts of that person, or the problems of that person. It is all about the practitioner. And so that's why you have spent most of the class working on your own head, so that you can move into a state of awareness that is about someone else, but you're not hooked in with that person. As soon as it gets to be personality driven, you are lost. As soon as you are in secondary causation, which is if then, or when then. When this happens, then Mary Jane will be able to. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's knowing the spiritual nature of that person when?
Now.
Now. If you ever have any sense of time other than the now moment in your treatment, you are dealing with secondary causation. Nothing is coming. Nothing is happening. Nothing is going to. Sometimes on Sunday morning I hear my practitioners up there and they are talking about, and as we have this realization, then it does. No, as soon as you have the word does, you've moved out of treatment. You are knowing in this now moment that it is when?
Now.
Now. So, how many of you want to learn how to treat for someone else? Good. How many of you are already treating for other people? Great. So, about half of the class has already made that leap. How many of you were in my Tuesday morning Annie Ritz Malone's class? How quickly did you learn to treat for someone else?
In a week or two.
When we got to it, it took a week. So you've got a week. Next Monday is the last night of class. So what you're going to do is you're going to have an opportunity to do this. And the wonderful thing about treating for somebody else is it's easy. It's easy because there's no heat on it. It's not your problem. Really, this makes a big difference. Someone comes up to you and they tell you what they need, and it's like, well, sure. Money's easy. Relationships are easy. How can you feel alone in a universe when there's only love? Health is in your natural state. I don't care what XYZ has been stamped on your forehead. It's easy to treat for someone else inside of yourself. The only thing you have to be careful of is that you don't get hooked up into their personality, which would mean being hooked in their story, in their problems, in their issues. Can I do the love, 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 blah, blah, blah? Okay. No. It's in the room is why. It keeps flying and hit me in my head. So when someone comes to you, you know, some people are really good at their stories because they practiced them all their lives, and they have the timing down, and they know just which evocative words to use to elicit a response out of someone else, and they're masters. And they come and they talk to you, whether they're sitting next to you, or it's an appointment, or it's just someone who calls you on the phone, and they run this number by you, and it's tricky not to buy into it because they're so good at it, especially if they've done it a long time. And sometimes what I do to unhook myself is either say it out loud or think it. How long have you had this problem? I've had this problem for 40 years. And my very next statement is, wow, you're really good at it. And what that does is that unhooks me from the drama and the trauma of it all. Because people have their drama and their trauma. When you are treating, do you go into drama and trauma?
No.
No. Do you go into story?
No.
No. What we do is we move inside of ourselves where it's really cozy, and because we're not having a problem, right? Sometimes when you treat for yourself, you're treating and it's kind of sweating because you gotta wrap your head around this because the clock is ticking and things are happening and oh my gosh, I've got a treat. So when we treat for someone else, we just go into that cozy place inside of ourselves where we can open up and connect and feel love and know that everything is going easily and wonderfully and everything is fantastic. And then you focus on that other person. And you simply speak your word. Ernest says to call the name. And I now speak my word for and about so-and-so, and I state the truth. I know that their body is in absolute vibrant health. I know that they prosper abundantly. The entire universe loves and supports them financially. I know that their door is open, their way is made clear, they move forward in life with head held high, being who they were meant to be, being where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing, that kind of thing. And you feel fantastic because you're not hooked into any of the problem. It is so easy to treat for other people as long as you don't get hooked in to their issue. And you go into this wonderful place inside of you and you just get it. And it's so easy. Well, of course you're loved and supported. Of course, not you. Of course that person is loved and supported. Of course Mary Jo has more than enough. We live in a universe of more than enough. Of course there is an abundant supply. Of course there's love. You move into that state where you go, yeah, and then you move into your gratitude and you let it go. The things that I want to show to you about treating for someone else, these are going to be the steps of treatment. We're not going to write them out. I'm just going to label them with numbers. The first step is what? Recognition. The practitioner or the person treating is always in a state of awareness of I. I know the amazing presence of spirit. I know that. I know the infinite, the absolute, the vibration, the light, the love. I know that whatever that is all that there is. And you get yourself in that wonderful place inside of you with I statements. And then the second step is what? Identification. And so you're not identifying the person you're treating for. You're only treating yourself. The practitioner treats the practitioner in the practitioner's consciousness. End of story. So I know that I am an individualization of that infinite substance, that absolute love and joy of spirit itself. I know that I am that point through which spirit moves, and I feel that power, and I feel that presence, and I feel that creative energy moving through me. And you stay there in this wonderful place as you get it. That's me. And then when you are knowing the truth about that other person, you are saying he, she. And you speak their name. And I say it just like Ernest says it. And I speak my word right now for and about so-and-so. And I know their manifestation as spirit. I know that they are loved. I know that they are prospered. I know that they are moving in their life in absolute health and harmony, and that they are in their perfect and right place, and that all doors are open to them. I'm not treating that the contract closes. That's outlining. I'm knowing these God qualities. Remember the God qualities? Peace, power, beauty, joy, love, light, wisdom, success, wholeness, balance, health. All of those are unchanging God qualities, and that's what I treat for people. I treat, for the most part, in first cause. I know the presence of spirit. right here and right now, as, and I state their name. I know that that presence is in every cell of their body. Their bodies are alive with the awareness of the divine. The health, the wholeness, the wisdom of the entire universe is manifest in every cell, in every organ, in every tissue, in every system, in every bone, in every joint. God is, and God knows exactly what to do as the body of so-and-so. And I know that for their work and their business and their experiences and their relationships, whatever it is I'm treating them for, I'm knowing that inside of me. And sometimes it's a good idea not to listen to the stories. Sometimes because some people are so good at their story, and if you're not really a seasoned not listener, you get hooked in. It's like, do you ever watch a television show or a movie and you got all emotionally involved in it? It's just a movie. It's not real, and that's the same for their story. It's not real. So you don't want to get hooked into it, so you can stay in that awareness of the presence of the divine, just doing its cosmic dance as this person right now. Everything is fantastic. So the first step is I know, I am, he, she, go ahead and state the name. Oops, name. And then you go back to the gratitude, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm not trying to get that person to be grateful. I'm not trying to get that person to know that spirit is everything, that they're an amazing spiritual being. I know that for them. I affirm with their name, talk about he or she. She is now prospering in every way with more than enough to do whatever it is she chooses to do. I know that she goes where she wants to go. She buys what she wants to buy. She has what she wants to have. She lives the life that she was meant to live. And then I move into, and I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for knowing this truth about so-and-so. I'm so grateful to be able to do spiritual mind treatment work. I'm so grateful to be able to stand so clearly in truth. I am so grateful for all of these things. And then I let it go. I've done my holy work, and I release this into all that spirit is. To take what has been impressed upon universal mind and manifest it in form, I can let it go. That kind of a thing. So it's I, he, she, or a name, I. It is never you. What happens when I'm saying you? Oh, Kristen, I know you. I know you now know who you are and how wonderful you are. That may be true, but it's not a treatment.
The separation.
Thank you. A treatment is knowing inside of myself the amazing being that Kristen is. Kristen doesn't need to know it. What I found is that people do not come to see me for treatment when they are on top of their game. When they are already knowing their magnificence, that everything is great, they usually are out living their life. It's when they are having a little trouble getting there that they come to see me. So then it's my job to know for them. This whole idea about oneness, the science of mind is based on the very first premise that there's only one. It is so huge. Huge. The fact that there is only one means that what I know affects you. And that's why when Ernest says when you look down on someone, or when you feel sorry for them, or when you call them sick, or when you wish them harm, you are committing malpractice. Because our thoughts affect other people. So the more clear we get, the more mindful we are to keep our thoughts on the straight and narrow, that God is all that there is and what an amazing being you are. You've done this for how long? Wow, you're really good at it. I'm so impressed with you. To be able to hold back the tidal wave of love and joy and prosperity that the universe has for you, you are amazing. That's different than, oh, life really did you wrong. That's horrible. That's terrible. How can anybody do that to you? Oh, poor baby. No, we don't go there at all. We stay in that clear awareness of truth. So what we want to do when we are treating for someone is we kind of pick them up. Well, I'm getting into subtleties. I was gonna say that we kind of pick them up and bring them into our consciousness. You know, like Pigpen has that swirl, only we have light. We have light and vibration and color, but really it's not that way either. So you could look at it as we take our consciousness and we just lay it over them, but really that's not right either. Because there is only one and everybody's everywhere all the time anyway, what we are doing is we're just connecting in mind with that person. And they don't have to know. They can be terrified, they can be upset, they can be sure that nothing's going to work out, and that's often when they come and ask for help. Please, I don't know what to do, my back's up against the wall, I've tried everything. So what I'll ask people at that moment is, you don't believe that you can do this, right? I don't believe that I can do it. Can you believe that I can do this? Can you let me hold the knowing for you? And usually people will go, sure, what a relief that is. Yeah, you take it. So I take that point of awareness of the divine in form as this person, and I simply know the spiritual reality for them, of them, about them, as them, and stuff happens. When I see you as a being of light and love, then your life somehow manifests that. I had people call me and say, right after you did the treatment, this problem has been hanging on for years. Right after you did the treatment, I got the phone call that everything worked out. Now what was that? Ernest says that we need only 51% to demonstrate. So those, overcompensating internal critics that some of you may have, that think you need to be totally enlightened before you can have anything good in your life, it's not true. You need 51%. So if you're at 7%, can you get that other, what is 51 minus 7?
44.
Can you get that other 44% from someone else? You bet. You bet. You can get that from other people. You can go to someone in this class, a practitioner or a friend, and it's, I'd love to say we have the market on this, but we don't. There are people supporting people over kitchen tables. There are people praying for people with words that we don't use, but the intention is still there, that lends a little bit of assurance and love and support, and it's enough to tip them into how they want their life to being able to accept that. There are plenty of therapists out there helping people tip. But we can do it by knowing in mind for and about this person that what they are choosing to experience is already here. And remember that once they have chosen to have the desire to think the thought, it must exist at some level. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to think it. And so it is here. It is really easy to go, it is here. And then the outer form falls into alignment with what you have known. Questions, because that was a crash course in practitioner training.
I get what you're saying. It seems to me, though, in like an immediate situation like somebody else, their computer isn't working, they're all upset, or a car doesn't start or something, that it doesn't really work until I do this.
Cool.
If I do this, kind of like feel like I'm radiating the energy to them, then everything works.
Great, but there is no energy to radiate.
I'm just saying it seems to work for me when I do that.
That's fine, and you're dealing with secondary causation
Okay.
because you're taking energy and moving it.
Uh-huh.
The truth is that the computer already works. The car already starts. I'll grant you, the person trying to start the computer or the car is probably blocking it.
Right.
And your joining in consciousness often is enough to allow them to relax. But even if they didn't, even if they were throwing a flaming fit, your consciousness of knowing the truth would supersede that into the manifestation of form. Otherwise, you turn into one of these people that say, once you calm down, once you accept, once you open up, then you can have what it is you want to have, and that is all secondary causation. The truth is it is already here right now. And I've gone out there and prayed over batteries and had them start, but what we're talking about is knowing within your own consciousness the spiritual truth of this person, and try not to get bogged down in all of these details. Try not to be, try not to micromanage them. Maybe the car not starting is part of a bigger blessing. And you're gonna go in there and bully it to start energetically, and they're gonna miss their true love, you know? There comes a point in time when we simply know that all things are in balance and order and harmony, and that there is a beautiful outpicturing of the divinity of this person happening, and then the car starts. Well, that was the perfect time for it to start. Or they call the tow truck, and thank you, Chris. They call the tow truck driver, and that tow truck driver is their long lost love. Who knows what it is? So it's important for us not to try to micromanage, because we always come from a limiting perspective when we do that. Well, I know how this is supposed to work out. No, we don't. We know that everything is unfolding with a divine order, a harmony, a balance, a health, a wholeness, a prosperity, a love, a joy. And as we move into that, then whatever is in alignment with that falls into form. Questions, comments?
Yeah.
Hi.
Gura. So does their story that they're telling themselves shift?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, that's not your business. What they are thinking and feeling is not your business, especially right now in this class. Your business is to be able to know the spiritual truth of someone else.
I want to thank you for what you just said and the way you said it, because I get it from first. Why this, you know, it, like, get it, not just intellectually understand the treatment, but really, really feel it. And the part that made me feel it is you're not talking to the person.
Right.
You're being a presence, and you're being such a positive presence. You know all this. And the person, I don't think could help. They'd have to have really big walls up if they could help.
Doesn't matter.
But it's contagious.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But to be in the presence of someone when I'm feeling something that I know is not the truth, but I just can't get past it. To be in the presence of someone who states positively, I mean, I will totally believe them.
That's great, and that doesn't have to happen. It can be
Okay.
someone on the other side of the world. It can be someone who doesn't know that you're treating for them at that particular
But they'll
moment.
still get that vibration, you know, I mean, I don't know what distance counts.
Don't
in
try
something
to
like this.
change the person. That's their process. It's okay. Whatever they're doing, we're not doing a treatment to try to get them to get it. Sometimes, I've had people who leave the doctor's office, they're told they only have a 5% chance of survival and that they're gonna be dead in a year. I can't expect them to have a shift. I don't want them to have a shift. I wanna be able to be rock solid inside of me and know the truth. And I think that person is hitting about a 10-year anniversary on that diagnosis. But you don't try to use this to change people, that's called manipulation.
Yeah. No, I know that, I understand that.
And yet, when we have all these people gathered together and we're all feeling and thinking this stuff, doesn't it get high? Don't you get high?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Great.
So what you're talking about just a couple minutes ago about micromanaging, that's the thing you're referring to earlier about outlining,
Yes.
about specific.
It's this car and it's in this lot and it's this color. I've had disasters with my students who have insisted on treating a certain person into their life. Much against all of my advice, they were sure that was it. There was a sheriff involved in that. I mean, just rather than saying, I'm created out of love. Love is what I am. I'm surrounded by people who love me. Love goes out before me, and I am centered in the awareness of love. And then you have someone that comes into your experience and, I love them. Well, of course you love them. Your love, their love. It's all about love. Okay? Okay, John, David.
So. So this is about care, because I don't want to say sympathy, but it's about care. So if someone comes to me or whomever and says, pray for me, do a treatment, and what I got from your comments is the fact that I would take my time and attention is an act of caring. And when I go to that place of genuine love, with that deep, deep love, obviously it's gradient, starts doing its thing. They feel that. So it's not about getting sympathetic with them, getting into their story or what have you, but just about being the genuine love that.
And if they do, that's great, but don't get hooked on how they feel. You have gone
This is about how
beyond
I
feelings.
feel.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. You, David, don't get hooked on how that person feels. You are beyond emotion,
So,
okay? You're dealing at a level of absolute truth. And they may or may not feel something. Ernest says, how do you feel when you give a good treatment? It doesn't matter. You don't have to feel great. You don't have to hear voices. You don't have to see visions. You can feel, all right. He says, that's an amazing treatment. Don't get caught up in, well, I had a vision. That was a very fine treatment. Or they called me up in tears. They were feeling the love so much. Don't get caught up in that. Just know the truth. Know the truth. Know the truth.
Doesn't, your knowing the truth does affect the person. I'm not saying that you are
It
manipulating.
affects their demonstration. I don't care how their emotions are. I'm not concerned with their emotions. I'm knowing their health, their wholeness, their success, their prosperity. Whatever they're doing right now, their dance, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's all part of their story and their process and all of that. I want to go to truth. And John wants the mic.
Only because we have an agreement. It's my turn. We did a treatment in class one night for someone who was taking the civil service exam. And we knew that they knew the answers, we knew that they passed the test, we gave all of that. And they went off and did it. They said it was one of the most excruciating experiences of their life. Both of their pencils broke. They lost something. They were filled with anxiety. And they passed the test. That's what was important. The outcome is what we knew was so, and that's what was so. So you really can't get caught up in the emotion. And you got to remember, and this is I think the most challenging thing of doing treatment for somebody else. You are not there to fix them. They are not broken. And all you can use are the truths of spirit. The attributes that we talk about, those are the things you can know about them. So you don't want to micromanage the circumstances around them. You are knowing their wholeness. You are knowing that they are the presence of the divine. And they can play it any way they want. But the thing that they're saying that they're unable themselves to see themselves through, you see them through it. And it feels like a fix, but it's not. It's not a fix. They weren't broken.
can I take a minute there?
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to swing at the premium. So for me, it starts begging, it takes me to the question, why am I doing this? That's just what I was thinking. Why am I treating people, whatever?
Because you can do it better than they can. And they've asked you to. And that's part of the deal. You do not treat anybody that hasn't asked for it. And of course, when you're partnered with somebody and you have that agreement, it's easy. But boy, when you see something going wrong in somebody else's life, you want to jump in and know for them that they are this, that, or the other. Don't ever do that.
It feels wonderful. It feels wonderful to treat for someone else.
It does. It does. It does.
It feels wonderful to create.
The what?
It does, and to recognize that we really do have within us the ability to influence another life. That's something that's there all the time, but there are some ethical standards you have to meet to do this. You don't just go around placing treatments on people, because you have no idea what their path is like, what's important to them, what they're seeking to achieve. And that's a malpractice to actually go in. In fact, what Rockenberg called it was not incantation. What did he call it if you did prayer work for somebody without their agreement? Conjuring. He called it conjuring. Can you have influence in someone's life? Absolutely. Yes.
Hey, John, I wanted to ask about, we had a member in the center recently who got really sick, and I'm making an assumption, but I'm assuming he was unconscious. He had brain problems. And then the center was treating for him in a big way. And it occurred to me, I need to ask at some point, how does that work?
Was that Charlie?
Yeah.
He asked. He was on the phone to Marina.
If he wasn't, what would have happened?
Here's what we can do for anybody. Here's what you can do for anybody, anytime, is know that they have everything they need to do what they need to do. That's a great treatment. And what you're really treating, as Barbara explained, is yourself. Because they're doing their thing, and what is good for you to know is that they have everything they need to do what they need to do, to experience what they need to experience. In other words, bug out. Let them do their thing. You know, I once was driving to Atlanta, going down I-85, and a car went whizzing by me. And I thought, boy, they're in a hurry somewhere. And way up ahead, I could see when the accident happened. And they ran into the back end of a pickup truck, and the back end of the pickup truck went up and came down right on top of the car. And they were killed instantly. And my immediate prayer was, they have everything they need to do what they need to do right now. And clearly that was to leave their body and go do something else. And of course I pulled off the next exit and called Barbara and kind of just debriefed myself through that, because I had to drive by that within a minute. So I was working on me to make sure that I didn't fall into that trap. So that's my work always, and all the treatment work that I do, is to know that they're on a perfect path. And I'm not here to redirect their path. I am simply here to know what's available to them and to open that up within me. And they'll either take it and see it or not. That's not my business. But it demonstrates nonetheless. It becomes the option or the opportunity in their life. Whether they see it or not is up to them. Some people are so into their story, even asking you to treat, what they're really doing when they ask you to treat for them is they want to run their story. And God bless them, that's just the way some folks are, and that's fine. And they'll tell you they want it to be different, but they really like their story. So you can treat and know the truth, and that opportunity is there. Will they get it? That's up to them. One of my favorite stories comes from a colleague who did a treatment for someone. They came in, and the person wanted to be able to express their talent in life. They were an artist, and they worked with jewelry. They wanted to anyway. They had a regular day job, but that's what they really wanted to do. And so they came in and did the treatment, and the person thanked them and left and went outside, and their car had been towed. So they came back inside because they didn't have a car. And they're all upset and freaking out and got to do something. And my colleague said, I really wish you well with that. I can't get involved in this. So they left very upset. They took a cab, went to a bar where they like to hang out, and got into a conversation with a bartender, and asked the bartender if they could borrow $100 to get their car out of the lot, the tow lot. And the bartender said no. And the person said, why? He said, well, because 6 months ago I asked you to make me a piece of jewelry, and you didn't have time to do it. So I'm not lending you money. You want to make me that jewelry? I'll pay you for it. I'll give you a down payment right now if you promise me in a week you'll have that piece of jewelry to me. Okay. So they took the down payment, and they went and got their car out, and they went home and they made the piece of jewelry, which the guy loved, and showed off to everybody in the bar. Pretty soon there was a list of assignments, projects, that came out of that community of jewelry to be made by this person. It happened because I mean, if you look at the story, it happened because their car was towed. But it happened because of a treatment of clarity that that was the direction and that it would open up to this person. But it's never promised how that's going to happen. How is none of your business? Please don't ever treat for something to happen a certain way. That's none of your business. It's just the outcome. That's all you can know about. Yes?
So in the whole, if you don't have someone's permission to treat for them, I tend not to, but I have a friend who constantly calls asking me to treat for her needs.
Unethical.
So I generally just treat that her life is unfolding in divine perfection for her.
And
Is
you can do that for
good?
anybody. Can't get into the details.
Right, that's what I treat
Yeah.
for her, so that's okay also?
If the niece calls you and wants you to treat,
Right.
that's totally different.
Right.
Yeah, but getting involved in that person you don't know is involved in their life is unethical.
Right.
Now, not everybody agrees with me, but I'm very strong on this. I will not step outside of that boundary. Yes?
Now, can I ask you what the parameters are, like somebody's asking you to treat for their child who is like 1-2 type?
You're
How does
playing
that work?
games. How often does that happen?
Well, no, I'm like, somebody like, I had a friend whose baby was born premature and they were having all issues and
Sure.
that sort of thing.
Infants that don't communicate directly with words, and animals. Animals are fun. You want to treat for somebody you haven't had permission for? Treat for an animal. They are so responsive. And they're just glad to do it, you know. We've seen it, animals with cancer and all this stuff. You treat that little puppy, you know? And chances are, in fact, how many of you know of people that had animals that outlived when they should? Because that person wanted them there so much, they weren't going to leave. Animals are easy. And they seem to be, they won't sue you. They won't say drink.
I used to rock climb and I was way up on a cliff looking down on a road and there was a U there and there were two cars and they were headed for a collision. And I was in a position where I could see where that was gonna happen. And I thought, you know, it was a chance that I was in that position and those cars were there. But I wondered, could I have treated it or just?
You could always know that those people have everything that they need to experience exactly what is theirs to experience. 1-year-olds too. You can always know that, but don't go into the details. Don't be saying that they are cancer-free. Don't be saying, because they're obviously on a path. And if you don't honor their path, if you get in the middle of it, it's conjuring.
So
And
John,
it's unethical.
from your viewpoint that you feel real strongly about this, if someone comes to you with cancer and says, I want to have chemotherapy and be free of the cancer, are you?
That's totally different. I'm not
Okay.
talking about that.
Okay.
I'm talking about treating for somebody else other than one that has asked you.
Okay.
Not treating for their neighbor or their friend or their family or anybody else other than them.
Okay.
In fact, that's something we work very diligently on in our practitioner training, is how to move that conversation around so that you can treat for the person that's sitting there.
Okay.
That's the work. It's never about something outside.
I
Okay.
was wondering if you were.
No, you took it somewhere it wasn't going. Rick?
Sometimes I'm in the practice, if I gotta make a phone call like to the phone company or a credit card company, somebody that I've got a little bit of angst about. I know beforehand, you know, I don't get into specifics, but I think along the lines, I can only be communicating with love and clarity.
That's you're treating, and that's always appropriate.
Okay.
Absolutely. What's going on in your experience is always yours to treat. You don't need to treat the person on the other end of the phone. You treat what's in your consciousness, what's in your experience. And that's all you need to know. Tom?
Well, I may be accused of being a conjurer, but periodically
Don't even bring it up then.
I have.
Because I don't need to hear it.
No, you do.
I don't need to hear it.
Well, I have a question.
Okay, I can answer the question. There you go.
Sometimes I have psychic premonitions for myself and sometimes for other people. And I feel it's my civic duty to, if I think, the airplane's gonna crash or something, to inform them because I have not done it and it has crashed. And I don't feel like
What's your question?
I don't think I ever got any bad karma for myself or for them for doing that. I think that the universe wanted me to do that.
What's your question?
Well,
You
is
didn't have a
that
question, did you? We're talking about spiritual mind treatment.
I know. Well,
Okay, we're talking about spiritual mind treatment. I have no idea what to say to you about that.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with this conversation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, David?
Okay, so I have a purpose, but I also have the immediate goals, or maybe what I want. Is it better to treat for the ultimate purpose, or just for what I want?
Oh, what a good question.
What was the question?
Say it again so everybody can hear you.
Yeah, I got it. Should I treat for the big picture, or just for the immediate need, or want?
What do you think?
Have you done
The big picture?
Different people have different takes on this. Who's the guy?
short term?
The one that,
The one thing?
no. The guy that came from Huntington Beach.
Marty Lopata.
No. Gosh. Hold on. He's been here and spoken. He did it in increments. His surgeries.
Terry McBride.
Terry McBride. Terry will tell you that he was dying. He had stuff going on in his body. He was just dying. And he said, I can't see my body totally healthy, but I can see my T-cell count going up. So he did that. And then they'd test him, and his T-cell count would go up. So what he was doing, so to answer from his perspective, it was, I can't grab this whole thing and take myself into absolute health, but I can get my T-cell count to go up, and then I can get my back to heal, and then I can, and do it that way. That really worked for him. Some people, though, go to the absolute, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you can see it and know it, that everything is working, all is in perfect order. So it's a great question, but I gotta tell you, it's up to what you're prepared to do. It really takes you to that place in treatment. So be with it, and just pay attention, you'll know. That's part of this whole thing. And what Tom's talking about in this knowing of stuff, we all have that ability. We all have that ability in our lives to know. If we'll just be still enough to listen, we do know. And that's part, I think, of doing treatment work for ourselves and for someone else, is to settle down and know the truth. And however that materializes in your thinking, as long as it's not out of alignment with the truth principles we teach, do it. Absolutely. I just won't do it for somebody that hasn't asked for it, because everybody's on a spiritual path, and I don't want to get in there. Let me tell you a story. I think it was in the 1970s, up in New England. There was a company that did some work for a school district. Came in and said, we're going to test all your fifth graders. I don't remember a lot of the details of this. We're going to test all your fifth graders, and we're going to tell you where they are on the scale of their ability. So they did. They tested them all. A day or two later, they came in and they said, okay, these are the kids that are the exceptional ones. They will go with these teachers and do advanced stuff. These are the average kids, and these are the kids that are kind of low, slow learners. And we're going to put you with, some remedial stuff. And they did that for a year, and then they tested them again. And when they tested them again, they found that these kids actually were there, but the thing was, the first set of tests, they just randomly separated the kids into those three groups. It had nothing to do with their ability. But at the end of the year, the kids that went into the high producing scored off the charts, and the ones that were in the low producing actually scored low. And the ones in the middle were average. Because their teachers had expectations of their ability.
There was another takeoff on that where they had all the kids imagine the teacher in the corner of the room. And by the end of the days, he was like over in the corner, kind of wondering why.
We have an ability to influence others more than we ever recognized that we did. And by treating for someone, there is an ethical obligation to only bring good to them into their lives. Not to fix them, they're not broken, but to only lift them up into a greater understanding of who they are. That's the work. That's always the work. That's physician thing, do no harm. Practitioners, do no harm. Lift people up. Yes?
If someone comes to me, asks for treatment, and the first thing they want to do is unload their story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sit there for an hour listening to their story and then say, what would you like me to treat you for, and have them narrow it down, or do you just cut to the chase?
Well, that depends too, because some people just need to download. They just do, bless our hearts, love on them, And I don't know if you want to give them an hour. We're not charging them, but then again, you're not licensed, so I wouldn't want to do that. But the idea of letting somebody kind of be there, what I do when they're doing that, well, when they walk in, my first thought is I'm looking at them, I'm smiling, going, "You're God, you're trying to trick me into thinking you're not." And I'm smiling and all. And then I let them kind of go for a while, and what I do is I let my mind go blank. I'm looking at them and smiling, but I'm not listening. I'm not listening. And what happens is usually a question will come. And I'll ask that question, and then we'll start getting to a place where we can see what it is. Now, you are not when practitioners are taught to work with anybody that walks in off the street and knows nothing about who we are and what we do, and being able to effectively have a conversation with them. You guys have already exceeded that, so that's not what you're trying to do here. You're being in a consciousness, or a partnership of consciousness. And I like to call doing treatment for another a lending of consciousness. That really works for me. There was a song that was out a few years ago that said, "I'll love you until you can love yourself." I don't know if you all remember that, but there was a song like that. And that's kind of what this is. I'm gonna lift you up, and then you're gonna take it from there. And so the idea of this is giving everybody something. But that idea of expectations and seeing how we can influence people. I talked to one of my colleagues, I think it was just yesterday. She's a brilliant woman. I love her. She's almost 90. Her name is Dr. Eloise Oliver. She has a church in Oakland, California. And she was telling me the story again of her husband, who when she found religious science, she was already divorced or divorcing him. And he was a kind of a violent, heavy drinker type. And according to her, in class, she said one too many times that her ex-husband was an alcoholic. And one of her classmates said, "You got to stop calling him that. Because you're holding him down in that place of not being anything more than an alcoholic." And so she got it. She said, "Okay, I'll never call him that again." And she didn't. And she kind of let that go. And she finished her studies, and she started her church in Oakland. Actually, it's an interesting story. She got another minister to start it before she got a license, but it was her church. And so she's in her church, and it didn't take too long after she started the church that her husband showed up. He sat in the back of the room. And as soon as the celebration on Sunday was over, the church said, "You take off." And that went on for a while. And then he showed up for class and sat in the back of the room. And she said he passed in an automobile accident, but that he was already in prac too when he died, and that he was well on his way to being a practitioner. And she is certain that by letting go of that label of what she was calling him, that it opened up something in his life that he could see that what she was doing, which she thought, he said, "You're doing, what do they call us? A cult. You're in a cult." That was his take on it. But he actually got past that and really created something wonderful in her life, and having just taken that label off. So what can you do when you're actually focused on lifting somebody up? Wow. What do you want to say? Arrange yourself so that you can sit with your treatment partner. Best not to do it over a table. Not for the first one. Everybody ready? James, we gotta get going here, darling. All right, I'm ready to begin. Is everybody ready? Yes. Face your treatment partner. Arrange yourself so you're looking at your treatment partner. Jane, just leave your. Okay, you may need something to write on. I got it. Go ahead and join your partner. Quickly as you just please. Thank you.
Yes. You want to do
David coming back. Oh, I see. Okay, David's fine. Okay. We're going to do an exercise before we actually do a traditional treatment session. So we know that there's always some level of emotion involved in sharing what's going on in your life. So I want you to share the emotional experience. Who's going to do, raise your hand if you're going to be the first one to do the treatment.
To do it or to get it?
To do the treatment. Raise your hand. Okay. If you raised your hand, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the other one in your partnership, okay? Is everyone listening? You're really going to need to listen to me. Okay. All right. So whoever's doing the treatment, just listen. Just be here now. The other one is taking instructions from me. You're going to share what it is that you're looking for treatment, and you're going to have some emotion around it, okay? Be honest with your emotion. But in the case of this exercise, you only get to use one word, and the word is blah. You can say that word as many times as you'd like. Try it.
Blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you got it. All right. So share your emotions with your partner. You move your hands, you can have facial expressions, but the only word you can use is blah. And you've got 2 minutes to do that. So go ahead and share. At least seem compassionate, practitioner. Are you laughing at your partner? Okay, you got it? You got it. Okay, you've heard the story. Now you're going to treat for this person. So close your eyes and do a treatment for them, and the only word that you use is love. That's it. Do your treatment. And now say, and so it is. It takes a moment to get past the giggles. They just are kind of part of that exercise. But do you understand the value of this? That whatever somebody's telling you is blah, blah, and whatever you're giving them is love. That's the bottom line. Yeah. So now, go ahead and do it again. Go ahead and share what you need to share, and then do a treatment. And when you're complete, switch turns and go the other way. We'll do that for about 20 minutes. So each of you should have your chance to share.
That we missed several classes because we've both been out of town and a lot of different things going on. And so when this came up, it was just like we both looked at each other and like looked towards the door.
Yeah.
Like, let's go out the door.
Get out of here.
And I didn't know, just feel the fear. It's okay. Feel the fear. Do it anyway. And so when I sat down here, it's funny. I said to David, I said, said, I'm really nervous right now because I've missed several classes, I'm not sure I know what to do, and so he was willing to go first. And then it was the most incredible experience because even though I've not been to the classes, I've been reading, trying to keep up with the book and trying to keep up with the homework and things. And then as we went through the process, after he was willing to do the first part, and then it was just an amazing experience. I was able to, I was surprised at how much I've learned and was able to do it, and just am really proud of myself and feel just so wonderful.
Congratulations.
We both felt good.
It's nice to feel good. Feeling good is a wonderful thing. You know, Barbara has her take on that. You can feel, I like good. Yes.
That little beginning exercise that you.
Yeah, the
had us
blah,
do.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was a great little exercise because it opened me up to just be receptive without putting words to, and it occurred to me, words wouldn't make up the story. So it was just, can't really say feeling, it was a sense of expansion.
Sure, your attention goes somewhere else rather than just into the words. When you leave the words out, you got to do something else, so you become aware of things you wouldn't have been aware of otherwise. Good for you.
Yeah.
Very nice. What does Stephanie want to share?
Right here.
Right over here.
What I'm remembering is the trust is building from the class, from Annie Hicks' class. And so each time I do this, it's easier and quicker, just like you said. And one of the things that was a helpful reminder that I love is that I don't have to do it in any order, even though I think I mostly did it in order. But that pressure is gone. Once the connection with the divine is there, then it takes me where I need to be.
Very nice. Very nice.
Great. Step forward.
Who else? Anybody else want to share their experience? Hands.
I'm happy to know that I wasn't the only one that was thinking of. As soon as you said we were gonna do, I was like, I think this is when I leave. And then Barbara completely messed me up and she's like, oh no, we're gonna choose our partners first. I was like, damn, she must have known. But it was, Barbara said about how it's wonderful to treat for someone else. It was a glorious experience. And I love the exercise because it heightened for me that all the details really are blah, blah, blah. You know? We all have the same blah, blah, blah. We think our blah, blah, blah is...
Oh, no, my blah, blah, blah is different.
Except for John.
No, we didn't have that feeling, that egotistical feeling that our details are just so important. And they determine so much of our life when it really isn't. And we were, you know, she asked me, because I was gonna head for the door. So she asked me, and it was funny how we partnered with each other because we identified, we are both people that identify ourselves as being introverts. So here we are having this conversation, and I completely got what she was feeling. When she treated me, I thought I was going to levitate.
Nice.
You know? When I was treating for her, it felt like this sweetness, this to make yourself available to someone else, completely unconditionally. It was very sweet. It was wonderful.
Very nice. Give me a hand. There it is.
The double and.
When Kristen was treating for me, I didn't want to go back.
It was that good. And she's doing something that I actually have, you and I probably had this conversation once before, you had it with the class about, spend a little more time in step 1 and 2. Just go right for the stuff. 1 and 2 is where it is. I mean, it really is. It takes you there, it gets you there, and then it's just, the rest of it falls into place. So I definitely would encourage you to hang out steps 1 and 2.
Good reminder.
Really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Along that very same line, I think the point in my life when I stopped being a conjurer and started being a treater was when I realized that I had to do step 1. I had to ask divine mind first.
Yes, good for you.
As long as I did that, everything's cool.
It does. It's almost a logical thing that if you recognize the presence, you can do the work. And you can't recognize it over there and not over here. You know, it's true. That's lovely. Anybody else? I saw you guys going deep over here.
Sure.
Donna did a great job. The exercise that we did originally, the blah, 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 and the love, to me, that was the best treatment that I've ever had. Because I didn't have to figure out exactly what I needed to convey to the person that I wanted to be treated for. I didn't have to say it succinctly so they would know. And I just felt the love coming back from her, and it didn't have to be the right words, or she didn't need to fix me, or whatever I was asking for. All I really wanted was to feel the connection, and I was able to do that, and it was like the best treatment. It's like, thank you.
Wow. Well, it's kind of similar to what you said, that when you doing the treatment, it was more like an intellectual exercise because we were both struggling to remember this treatment. But when expressing the love, it was coming purely from my heart. And I felt it coming from her heart, not from thoughts. And yeah, it was a heart connection rather than a mind connection. So that was the difference.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. One thing that comes to mind that I want to share with you is this, going back to this idea of not treating something that someone requests because if there's a third party involved. Let me tell you, this is a room where you have a lot of trust and a lot of connection. But people will in your life, once they know that you do prayer work, will ask you to do prayer work. And they will often ask for something beyond themselves. And the task there is not to reject or deny. It's to find a way to do it without stepping outside of what you see as okay. And really the process is to continue to ask them how this affects them, how you can support them, and they'll find a way to get there with you. So it's not as difficult, but one of the questions on the practitioner exam is they give you a scenario that someone's asking for a third party, what do you do? And if the practitioner student writes on their test, well, I would tell them I can't treat for that, they will fail that part of the test. Because you never say no, you come to a place where you can do it. That's the work, is to work the conversation to a place where you can treat them and support them. So again, I didn't want to lead with the idea that we would ever say no. We just work ourselves into a place of being able to say, I'm here for you. How can I support you? Okay?
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from our work tonight? Yes, Rick?
What if you run across somebody that, I'm sure you have, somebody that's so into their story that they just get emotional and sobbing, to a point you kind of guide them out of that, or it's difficult to get behind something like that.
Yeah, and you give people the space to feel what they need to feel. You know, and you love them through it. You know, that whole idea of love, 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 the whole process is around that. You know, if you find fault in them, if you judge them in any way or struggle with where they are, you can't support them. And if you want to support them and see the wholeness that they are, you know, let them go through their stuff and know the truth. Just always know the truth. You know, and sometimes it's just taking their hands and loving on them for a moment. You know, that sometimes is enough. And the idea of holding hands. Many people in our movement, they reject the idea that you should touch when you're doing treatment. Around here, that's not the case. Practitioners love to hold your hand. And you'll notice that when you go to a practitioner and they take your hands, they hold your hands. If they're going to do the treatment, they're going to hold you up. They're going to be the underpinning of this and hold you up. So if you're going to work with a prayer partner and hold hands, whoever's doing the treatment, let them hold your hands. And when you do the treatment, you hold their hands. It's just a nice, a subliminal thing of saying, I got this, you know? Yes, Jane?
That could backfire though. One time a practitioner gave me a treatment and she grabbed my hand and I couldn't move my hand and I felt trapped.
Right. So I don't know why that practitioner did that at that time, but what we teach in practitioner classes, ask the person before touching their hands.
Oh,
Okay, can I hold your hands? Is the question.
Yeah.
And if they didn't do that, then they really just may have been caught up in your story, or they may have just been not thinking. But you don't touch anybody, grab their hands or anything like that.
That's a terrible
Just
feeling.
always ask. Well, it can be a terrible feeling. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. Yes, Kathy.
What I liked, Mindy asked me questions, and it kind of put a different spin on what I was thinking about. Like she asked, how would that make me feel, or what would that look like to me?
Good questions.
Yeah.
Good questions. Clarifying questions.
It
Very
really
nice.
kind of made it more specific for me.
That's great.
So it was good.
You know, and if you just open your heart, you'll know what questions to ask without falling into the story. And then what happened? Okay, I'm going to turn this back to Barbara. Another great class. This
Yeah.
I will not be here with you next week. I'll be in California. But I want you to know that I've really enjoyed this. This has been a delightful experience.
Thank you, John. You wrote the book.
You wrote the book of love.
So you have a treatment partner, please treat during the week. Don't just leave here and never talk to that person again. I would recommend that you exchange phone numbers. When as your demonstration shows up, call your treatment partner and don't say, you'll never believe what would happen. Say, this manifested for me. Let them know. Share that experience. Sometimes people like to treat on the phone with each other. But let this be an experience that goes throughout the week. It is your homework to do spiritual mind treatment work for each other during the week, at least once a day. And we'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about how that feels and maybe how it morphed and just, you know, it's a crash course. It's a week. So use the week wisely. And one of the things that I wanted to say about what you said, Rick, is that if you just trust yourself, it'll be okay. You know, I've spent 35 years with people in my office, and some of them have fallen apart, but it's never irretrievable, but they retrieve themselves. And I think that that's a fear that we all have, that if we really just open up and let it out, we will go into a place where there's no coming back. And so then we project that onto someone else. Well, what if someone else does that? What am I going to do? Just stay with them, Nina and Ron. Just stay with them. Just stay with them.
Okay.
Hello, Jane. Hello, Jane. Hello, Jane. Thank you. So just stay with that person no matter what's going on. If they're angry, if they're crying, whatever it is, just stay with them. And what you're consciousness will do will be to bring yourself where you need to be, and very often they will follow, although that's not the point of it. It just tends to be the byproduct. I do have a housekeeping request, and that is that we had our leadership council meeting yesterday, and it appears that our PowerPoint circle is almost completely non-existent, which means not the making of PowerPoint, but the pushing of the button in the sound booth, which is a very, very important button, because it moves the words to the slides and takes us through the experience of the celebration. There are hours and hours and hours put in creating the PowerPoint, and then on Sunday morning, someone comes at 10 o'clock, runs through it with the band, gets a sense of what it is and what's gonna happen, and then they are there with the button. So the appearance is that this Sunday we're not going to have a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm not sure how we'll be singing songs or doing things like that. So I just wanted to put it out there that if anyone would like to help with the PowerPoint and be in the sound booth, and you know, you control the whole room from up there. If you'd like to do that, then I'm putting it out there that there's an opportunity to participate in the celebration, and if not, then please bring it into your treatment work, that the experience on Sunday morning is so important. You know, we start on the previous Sunday to get ready for the next Sunday. That particular day, we start at 5 o'clock in the morning here to get ready for the 11 o'clock celebration. And people come in, and some of them, that's all they've got to hold on to all week. I don't know if you've ever walked in the door and you needed that celebration. You just needed it. So we really hold it to a high standard and want everything to be as smooth and wonderful as possible. So I am putting it out to the Monday night Art of Spiritual Mind class. If anyone would like to run PowerPoint and learn how to run PowerPoint and be a part of that group, then there is an opportunity for you. Is there anyone in the room?
I'll do it this Sunday if you need.
It's not a matter of need, it's a matter of.
I'm just saying if nobody else volunteers, I'd be happy to do it.
Thank you. Right now, no one is volunteering, and they're saying, well, looks like we're going dark. Yes, Tom?
I was just wondering how it got interrupted, and what is it that happened because it interrupted the PowerPoint?
We have a lot of service circles, and the service circles have leaders. The leader of the PowerPoint circle stepped aside a couple of months ago and was not replaced. A leaderless group tends to fall apart, and that's what happened.
Well, I'm happy to, I mean, I'd like to learn how to do it. I mean, I don't know about a permanent thing or anything, but.
Great, maybe Breezy can teach you.
Yeah, I agree.
Wonderful. Wonderful. John and I are coming back into town Saturday night late. So we're really knowing that everything is coming together on Sunday morning to be another amazing day at the center. How many people were here yesterday? Wasn't that an amazing day?
Yes.
We are driving, can I tell them?
Sure.
We're driving down to Florida tomorrow. We're looking at vacation homes, and we are gonna stop by in Charleston and put a flower at the door. Say a prayer, bring our energy, bring the energy of all the centers for spiritual living together for that higher level of healing that is going on here. So you are represented.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Hold in consciousness that everything runs great here.
It does.
Yes.
Will do. It does run great.
It does, this is an
Yeah.
amazing facility. We had our bankers in, because we have new bankers, and they're walking around going, wow, oh wow, look at all of this. So, treat this week, share phone numbers with your people, make a friend. You know, it's, Francis used to call it spiritual intercourse. Made him stop using that word.
Got your attention.
And it very much is true, it's spiritual intimacy. When you treat with someone, it's very intimate. So avail yourself of that. And Cheryl and Donna, you're going to finish up the flip side of that. You can do it here, you can do it on the phone, you can do it at home, whatever you want to do, okay? Thank you. Take out what you're going to give. All right. Please understand that these are going down to the beach with us. Well, it's not really a beach experience. It's a house experience. So we are holding these envelopes in our hands at the end of our treatment work every day. And we are knowing that the ideas that were put on these papers are blessed, that each one of you is blessed with the manifestation of your heart's desire. And so just know that the envelopes are still cooking, and we are, this is what we do, we create. Hold out in your hand what you're gonna give. Good. That is not a storage unit, that is mine. And what I know is that there is one infinite, absolute presence and power of love and joy. It is prosperity itself because there is no end to it. And out of that infinite substance and supply, we were made. So I know for myself, right here and right now, that I am a point of the abundance and prosperity of all of life. Spirit moves through me each and every moment as an ever-expanding consciousness of more and more and more. And so I claim for myself and everyone in this room that we are rich, we are prosperous, we are abundant right here and right now. We have more than enough to do whatever it is we choose to do, that we are totally supported by the entire universe and all of life. I know that our hearts are open, that our minds are clear, and that we move forward in our lives remembering who we are. I know that as we give, we receive. And so we give this gift tonight, knowing that we are setting spiritual law in motion, and the only thing that can happen is the manifestation of the ever-increasing supply of that which we have given. So I know for each and every one of us that we come together this night to make this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom for all who call it home. And so it is. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Take it in. Accept it. Let life lift you. Let love love you. Let prosperity give to you. I see it as pouring down upon us. I see it as moving through us. I see it as lifting us up. I see that energy of more and more and more, constantly, 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 giving to each and every one of us. And so, of course, I know that everything in these baskets is blessed, that each of us is blessed by our giving, and we open to the blessing of life giving back to us. I know that as we gave this gift, Spirit moved in our lives, touching and blessing and healing each and every one of us, and I am so grateful for that awakening and quickening that we are. I know that that energy touches every one of us here tonight, everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. I love you. I will see you on Sunday. Have a wonderful